Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Predicting Tranquility. It is Season 9, a brand new dawn. I am your host, and Nerfed. We have Phoenix from the Big Bang Buccaneers and Abraxas from the Devil Dukes here joining me tonight. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Um, can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, I honestly, it's the off season is only 3 months, but it feels like it's too long. I cannot wait for this season to officially start tomorrow. But before that, tonight we are going to cover every single match in Tranquility. Yes, all 41 matches, all 82 teams. We will give everybody a little bit of spotlight. So as you might already be able to tell, I'm not sure what it looks like on everybody else's end. But we're starting a little bit scuffed. We're going through a transition period here in Predicting Tranquility. We're trying to run a new format. So this week we do not have official graphics and stuff. And it's first week. It's a little bit scuffed anyways since we don't really know anything about most of the teams. So we're going to be shortening it. Normally it would be all three of us would give our predictions for each match. But what we're doing instead is one person will be getting a tier, and or a division rather, they will give their predictions for each and every one of the matches and then pick a specific match that they would like the rest of the casters to talk about. So, Phoenix, you can take it away with Harmony EU.
All right, so on the EU side, we'll start off with the feature match, which is Hope Guardians versus Celsius 522. For this, I predict Celsius to have a 3-2 win, narrow victory. But I feel like Doramea playing will help the team a lot in this match.
All right. Then what was the next match? Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the
Yeah.
schedule real quick.
Oh, good. So the next match is Dino Nuggies versus Hive Mind. This is gonna be a little spicy, but I have Hive Mind winning a five map series, 3-2. From what I've seen in scrims, Hive Mind has really good dive. It's like really hard to believe for a Harmony tier team. Next up, we have Brig Divers and RJ Dragono. I predict Brig Divers to get 3-1, but we don't know much about these teams, so it's kind of it could be anyone's game, honestly. And then the last one is Aesir versus Skyward Wildcat. Um, Aesir is probably going to be my dark horse in this tournament. I feel like they're going to do really good overall. They're a returning team. So I predict them to win 3-1.
Yeah, Acer was a solid team last season. I believe they finished third in in Harmony EU. So a really strong finish, and hoping they can probably bring that success into the season 9. So which one of those matches was the match you wanted to take a closer look at for the rest of us?
All right. So I feel like the key match would be the Hope Guardians versus Celsius, because it looks to be like one of the few matches that will like define which team is going to be on the top end and which team is going to be on the bottom end. It's probably going to be one of the closest matches too in the tier.
Okay. Abraxas, you can go ahead and give your prediction first.
Uh, so wait, we're still in Harmony, like EU,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Hope Guardians
Okay.
vs Celsius 522.
Uh, dude, for me, Hope Guardians versus. I think I'm gonna give it Celsius. I think that's like a 3-1 for them. I'm like struggling right now to like get back to the sheet as I tabbed out of it, and I like lost it.
Yeah.
So give me like a one more second to find it.
No, you're good. I
This is
also I think went with Celsius 522 in this for this match. I think I'm gonna go with a 3-1 as well. I know a little bit about Celsius. I know they have Rocco Neko, who was one of my players last season on the Luminous Foxes. I believe they also have a couple other NA players who are pretty well known in the community. They're in an org that does pretty okay. I think the Fahrenheit Dallas fan club org tends to do pretty all right. And don't really know too much about Hope Guardians, so unfortunately can't really predict them to do all too well without knowing anything about them. Moving over though to Harmony NA, we're starting with Orem. So the first match we have is Jersey Boys versus Omnic Boogaloo. I went with a 4-0 in favor of the Jersey Boys for that one. Geometric versus Chinchillas, a brand new team, kind of took the spot last second after Miami Yikes dropped out last night. I went with Geometric 4-0 as well there. And then the final match, which this is the one I wanted to take a little bit of a closer look at, was Big Bang versus EX Kusanagi, I think is how you say that. I went with a 3-1. I think Big Bang are looking very, very strong, especially from that preseason performance they had. They ended up losing to the Flashbacks in 5. I think the Big Bang are a really solid team, and I think that hopefully they can continue some of their success that they were looking to have towards the end of Season 8. Phoenix, though, what was your prediction for this match?
I actually predicted a 3-0. I feel like Kusanagi might actually be able to draw a map potentially. I can definitely see them doing it with the roster that they currently have.
Yeah. Braxis?
I had Big Bang Buccaneers 4-0ing ex Kusanagi. I think Big Bang Buccaneers are proven to be extremely strong, and I think going 5 maps with flashbacks in preseason just sort of proved it. I think they'll have no issue here.
Yeah, definitely hard to discredit that performance they had. Big Bang is typically a really solid team, and I don't see why bringing in most of the same roster from last season would change any of that. Moving over to Orem B, Abraxas, what were your matches?
So I had Chicago Mafia 4-0ing Millivat Gaming, and then I had Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies losing 3-1 to Strix, and I have Galactic Penguins 4-ing Fire Breathing Potatoes. So
All right. What was the deep dive match you wanted to look at?
I think Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies versus Strix. I think Strix had a really strong performance in preseason, and I think Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies were pretty good last season. So I think this is going to be sort of like a test for both, because it's really hard to like really gauge a full team strength off of preseason. So I feel like this match should be pretty good for them.
Yeah, I went with a 3-1 for Strix here. Definitely. I mean, the preseason runner-ups, they had a pretty solid performance. They kind of rolled their way through the bracket up until the flashbacks where they got stopped pretty abruptly, but they're definitely looking like a very solid contender this season. As for the fire-breathing rubber duckies, they were very good last season. However, I'm not entirely sure how this rebuild is going to go for them. Um, I definitely think that they're still going to be a good team. I trust this org, but I gotta see it before I believe it, especially against a team like Strix. Phoenix, what was your
Well,
score?
I call me a believer, but I think FBRD is gonna take map 5 and lead 3-2 against Strix.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like Strix has like the best roster, but I trust Night Knight's coaching, and if I remember right, Jug's also managing the team. I feel like they'll be able to come back from the Strix game.
Yeah, that's definitely a bold prediction. However, I could definitely see it happening. Um, I love the Duckies, and I would absolutely love to see it happen. Abraxas moving down to Indigo. Indigo Pool A. What were the matches?
For Indigo Pool A, it is Insidious versus Chrysalis. I think Chrysalis are winning that 4-0. Um, Koala Kings versus Clairvoyance. I think Koala Kings are going to win that 3-1. O7 Titanium versus Ragnarok Freya. I'm going to give that to Ragnarok Freya 3-1. And, okay, whoops. There you go. I think Loki, the match to look out for is in Koala Kings versus Clairvoyance. I think it's interesting to see how Koala Kings are going to do. Call me biased because I'm a marsupial slave. And what, but I think this is a really good roster, but this is sort of like the first game for them where it's like we're gonna see just how good they are. Because I know Hayden has been putting in the work.
Yeah. I mean, they're going again, another team going through a little bit of a rebuild, a little bit different management than typical. Mostly retooling their roster. Besides, they keep Mello at the main support, I believe. But I don't see that changing anything. I think the Koala Kings 4-0 this match and start off a pretty dominant season 9. I think that the Koala Kings, I mean, I've scrimmed them. I know what they're like. I think Koala Kings are going to be a very solid team this season. Phoenix, what was your score for this match?
I also have Koala Kings taking a 4-0 sweep against Clairvoyance. If I remember right, they also have Kilroy on DPS, which like their roster is really good, and if their gameplay from last season, I know like most of them didn't stay around, but I think their coaching staff did a really good job. Like it felt like they didn't really make mistakes too well.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, I messed up the schedule a little bit for this, but that's okay. But moving down to Indigo B, the first match was Narwhal Connex versus the Flashbacks. Uh, I mean, Flashbacks, preseason champions. Uh, they've they've lost like 4 maps in the last 2 or 3 seasons they've played in. I don't see that changing. I think Flashbacks get a 4-0 here. The second match was Fahrenheit 972 versus 3.5. I initially doubted 972 a little bit after getting swept by Ace High in the preseason. But I think Ace High had a pretty solid run after that, and I'm gonna go with another 4-0 for Fahrenheit in this match. And then the final match was Obfuscation versus Ace High. Like I just said, Ace High had a really solid run in the preseason, and they're going up against Obfuscation, who is a new team to the Harmony tier, but I think they have a pretty solid roster. So I went with a 3-1 here for Ace High. But this is the one that I want to talk to you guys about. What did you guys think this match was going to be?
ASI, I think, has a really stacked team, but they obviously don't have the coordination and synergy yet that most of our like veteran orgs have. So I can also see obfuscation coming up with some maps. So I predict Ace High having a 3-2.
Braxis?
Personally for me, I'm actually gonna give it to Obfuscation in a 3-2 because I really like the org they're coming from. With Classified, who put up a very good showing last season in Discord, or excuse me, Redacted. Classified as their trans tier team. And I think they'll pull through and win this game. I think it'll be a difficult one for both teams, but I think Obfuscation will pull it out in the map 5.
Yeah, I think Obfuscation are definitely the underdog here, but they're a team that I could honestly see being kind of a dark horse. I think that a lot of people, I know they're a new team, so automatically they're not gonna get the highest like predictions for them. But I think that they're a dark horse, and I think that they could do pretty solidly. Moving back over to EU for the Discord here, Abraxas, what were the matches?
So the first match is Berserk versus Feeders Divided. I gave that one to Feeders Divided 3-1. And then I have Deathwatch versus Paid to Win, and I'm giving that one to Deathwatch 3-1. And then Cam versus Mythical Kitsune. Cam are winning that one 3-1. And then Feeders United versus Dragon's Aura, which is I gave that one to Feeders United, so 4-0. And I would have to say, like, my match to watch, although, going into this, compared to the NA, we know very little about EU. I feel like we're probably going to keep saying that.
Yeah.
I think the match to watch is probably Feeders Divided versus Berserk. I feel like it'll just be a good one to watch.
Yeah. Feeders Divided coming from the same org as Feeders United, I believe, who were the runner-ups last season in the EU Harmony tier. Um, that's really all the information I have to go off for this match. I'm not too familiar with the rosters yet for Discord EU. And I mean, I know the two returning teams in Paid to Win and Feeders United, but yeah, beyond that, I just know Feeders are part of the same org, so I think I'm gonna go with them 3-1 here.
This is gonna be a really spicy take, but I think Berserk is going to be one of those random teams that are really good as like a new team and will like beat all other ones. So I think Berserk might 4-0 get us divided.
Yeah, definitely. There, I mean, like we said, not a lot of information, but I mean, if you believe, hey, I mean, I have no information against that. Um, back to NA though, for the Discords here. Orem A, Phoenix, what were your matches?
So for the first match, we have Monarch versus Chicago Deep Dish. I think Chicago Deep Dish is a really good favorite in this series, so I say they're gonna 3-1 Monarch. And then next match is Hammerhead versus Ragnarok Loki. I think it's going to be a very close match, but I think Hammerhead's going to pull 3-2. And then our feature match for this week is Cosmic Castaways versus the Galactic Gibbons. And this one's like my key match as well because like both of these are like favorite teams going in. Galactic Gibbons obviously in the same org with Galactic Penguins, our finalists from last season, and then Cosmic Castaways are the Discord finalists from last season as well. So I feel like this is going to be like a very close, interesting game. But I have Cosmic narrowly winning the series 3-2.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to go with the bias pick. Galactic Gibbons are my team. Um, it wouldn't really inspire confidence if I didn't pick us, so I'm gonna go with the Galactic Gibbons 3-1 here.
Uh, Personally, I went for Cosmic Castaways, 3-2. I think Magpolar is going to do great things with that roster. So I believe in him, and I believe they will win this game.
Yeah, definitely. Castaways are not a team to underestimate. I'm definitely making sure that the Gibbons are prepped and ready for this match. So we'll see. We'll see. Abraxas, what did you have for Orem B?
So for R&B to start off, we have Thunder Duckies versus Scylla. I had the Thunder Duckies winning that one 3-1. And then MI7 versus Poseidon. I think MI7 are going to clean sweep that one 4-0. And then Reminiscence and Adelaide Eclipse. This is actually also my key match to watch out for. I have Rem winning 3-1. I think this would be a good little test for Rem. I know Adelaide are look pretty strong on paper, of course. With Tanic B, who played on Joey, and it's also coming from a Haydenator org, so he can build a team and he can make them good. So I think this is going to be like the first actual test for Rem. I know MI7 in Discord finals was pretty close, regardless of scoreline. But I think this game's going to be more of a test for Reborn and Seraph uh, over anything else. So.
Yeah, Adelaide is definitely they're a new team, but they're one that when I saw their roster, I was definitely immediately impressed. I think that Adelaide are solid, but I don't see them being able to beat the preseason champions. Rem, I think for the time being are unbeatable. Maybe put them against like Deep Dish or who knows what the match against MI7 would look like, but for now, I'm gonna go with Rem until they lose.
Yeah. For me, I basically have sweeping Adelaide. I think Adelaide's pretty good, but Reminiscence just feels like they're like a cut above the rest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Rem, like I said, hard to really predict them to lose at the time. Um, Moving over to Indigo, for Pool A, Redacted versus Nemesis is the first match. I went with Nemesis. I know some of those players on that team. I think that they're going to be surprisingly all right this season. So I went with Nemesis, 3-2 here. Then the next match was Space Creative versus Vampires. I kept flip-flopping on this one. I don't know how much I trust Space Creative this season. And then Vampires are looking like a pretty alright team despite being brand new. I ended up going with another 3-2 in favor of Space Created here. And then the final match, which I think this is the most hype one, and this is also my feature match, of course. Joey Esports versus the SEAL Team Spuds. Um, it never seemed like Spuds could get the dub last season. It seemed like Joey and Castaways were just a tier above the rest, but I think this is their time. Both teams are retooling a little bit, and I think that the Spuds are going to pull it out in, I'm gonna say 3-1. 3-1 for this match.
I also agree with that. I feel like the Spuds, like now's their time to like take advantage of everything. I know like Navino's stepping down, so they're having issues even on the management side. So I feel like this is like when Joey's vulnerable, but I think they'll come back stronger. But still, Team Spuds are gonna 3-2.
Uh, okay, call me biased. I think Joey's going to dominate this match. I mean, I would say the roster this season, just from what I've seen, is probably better than the roster they had this season. I mean, Nev stepping down, he put Corey in charge, and I mean, Corey is just, I mean, he's got more rings than Tom Brady in these little tier four leagues. So, I think Joey are just going to clean sweep this. I think Spuds are going to put up a fight. I think it'll be a very close 4-0. But I think Joey are going to be very good this season. What's new?
Yeah, definitely can't count them out. I mean, their roster looks very solid. I think both of these teams are coming in with it's hard to say upgrades when they were like probably the consensus second and third best teams last season, but they look pretty good. I think that these teams are both gonna kind of pick up right where they left off. Moving to Indigo B though, Phoenix. What were your predictions?
Um, so for Phoenix Umber and then Fahrenheit 214, I'm going to call it the Fireball. I'm going to have Fahrenheit um, just win 3-1. It's going to be like a somewhat close game, but I feel like they're going to eventually overwhelm Phoenix Umber.
And then your other two matches, or
Uh,
was that your?
yeah, that was my future. Sorry.
Oh, oh. I know the coach of Phoenix Rising Ember, and I know that he's definitely he's very solid. I don't know if it's like public information, so I don't know if I should say it. So I won't. But yeah, I know that he's a very dedicated person, and he's like he's definitely a good coach. But I think Phoenix Rising Ember have their work cut out for them. And Fahrenheit 214 is a roster that I think is pretty solid. So I'm gonna go with Fahrenheit 3-1 here.
I am also going to give the win over to Fahrenheit 241. I think this season over last, they have a pretty solid roster, and I think this game, like most week one games, are just going to be a good telling of sort of the future of the team and how well they're going to perform.
So then, after that match, we have Doodles versus Reckless Obsidian. Um, Doodles is that team that you just get taken off guard against. I hate to do this, but I think Doodles are gonna 3-1. I think Reckless will come back on map 4 and adapt, but it's gonna be too late when Doodles already secured the win.
And then
And then Adrenaline's is gonna sweep Hades. I don't know. I mean, Adrenalines are like the fan favorite right now, so
yeah, I definitely liked what I saw out of them in the preseason. They weren't one of the teams that I expected to be incredible, but hey, they pulled out a dub. I believe against Space Created, and then they put up a fight. I think against MI7. I'm not entirely sure what the Discord bracket looked like. Um, but yeah, I think Adrenalines are a solid team this season. Moving up to Trans tier though, we have Abraxas. What were the Aura matches this week?
So the very first Aura match is between Sydney Sunsets and Nia. I have Sydney Sunsets winning that one 3-1. And then match two is 413 Catalyst versus Boomers. I have Boomers winning that one 4-0. And then match three is Death Cards versus Guangzhou, which is also my key match to watch. And I gave that one to Guangzhou 4-0. I think you can't look at Guangzhou and say they're not the favorites to win the whole league. Like even as like I guess their rival in Devil Dukes, like I can say that they're the team to beat. Coming back from winning last season pretty dominantly. Um, and Cam is just so good. I mean, their whole roster from top to bottom is good. And Death Cards also they look really solid on paper. So I'm curious to see how well they do. And I think this will be a good match to watch because Death Cards look like a team built for sort of playing ball and stuff. And Guangzhou do enjoy Rush, especially after they lost two freshmen who primarily played ball in the preseason.
Yeah. Guangzhou, I mean, they were Epizooks last season. Uh, it's hard to go against the team that was so dominant last season for basically the entirety of the season. I went with a 4-0 here for Death Cards. I like Death Cards a lot, but I think this isn't going to be their match. I think they're going to have a really solid rest of the stage, but I don't think this is their match.
Yeah, I agree. Death Cars just Episodes existed so much last year. I find it hard for Death Cars to be able to pull through. They will take a map, but I think that's about it. I think Guangzhou Gangsters are gonna get 3-1 victory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, hard to go against the champs. Moving over to Azure, the new division for the trans tier. Um, the first match is Reckless Sigma versus Decapitators. I think this is going to be a little bit closer than it seems like a lot of people are believing, based off of just the predictions and polls. I think it's going to be a 3-1 for Decaps. So I'm definitely siding with the mob, but I think it's hard. I think it's hard to go against Decaps. Just from their historic runs that they've had. The second match is Krabby Crabbers versus the Palm Beach Poggers. Palm Beach Poggers were really good back in season 7, but that was in Harmony tier. They've had some time off. I think they've run through GGNA a couple times. But it's hard to predict a team who's moving up 2 tiers to immediately find success in a new world kind of. So I went with Krabby Crabbers 3-1. And then my key match for this tier is Classified versus Culture. Um, I'm not entirely sure where I stand on these two teams, so I'm kind of looking to get some opinions, just so that in the future I kind of have like a basis for these two teams. But I went with Classified here, 3-1.
I agree. I think Classified is gonna win this. They have like the org advantage in my opinion. Like they're gonna be a lot more organized how they run things at first. So I feel like um, for week one, Classified is going to win 3-1.
I also have Classified winning this one 4-0. Personally, like when you look at both teams on paper, I mean, Classified just looks head and shoulders above Culture, and I think it'll be a good game and it'll be fun to watch. But I think Classified are going to win this one pretty comfortably.
All right, well that definitely helps. Definitely reassuring. My Classified prediction is thank you for that, guys. Because I genuinely had no idea like what to think of either of these two teams going into the season. And I mean, like we've been saying, new season, new teams, so you can't really predict anything right now. Got to give it a couple weeks before we officially know where these teams stand. But yeah. Um, moving over to Indigo. Phoenix. What were the matches?
So the first one I have is Lijiang Legion versus Devil Dukes. Devil Dukes, very strong veteran, part of Mr. Org. So I since I don't know much about Lijiang, I'm going to give Devil Dukes the clean sweep 4-0. Then we have Arctic Foxes versus Amnesia. Amnesia preseason winners, like it's hard to go against them. They're also going to sweep, in my opinion. But then for the last match, we have Frost Fissure versus Oath, and I give Oath 3-1. Um, I've seen LFT, so I'm not sure if Frost Fissure has a dedicated roster out yet. So I feel like there'll be a strong team, just not initially here. So I feel like Oath can overwhelm them.
Yeah, I'm I'm the designated frost permafrost simp. Throw any other rosters into any match and I will predict them to win. And that's not changing. I don't know entirely what the Frost Treasure roster is. I think you're correct about that. That they don't exactly have like a full starting six yet. But they have a little bit more time, just a little bit. So I believe I know Rook's a solid manager, so I'm gonna go with Frost Fissure here, 3-2, 3-2.
Yeah, I'm also giving Frost Fissure a 3-2 here over Oath. I like Oath. I thought they did pretty good in Discord tier. I'm a little I'm keeping myself sort of vigilant of them, but I feel like they're sort of jumping from Discord tier to Transcendence tier with basically the same roster. So this would be a good match to see if they can actually put up a fight in Transcendence tier or not. But yeah, Frostfisher I think gonna win this one just barely though. 3-2.
All right. Well, that just about does it for the matches. Like I said at the beginning, a little bit scuffed. Hopefully we should have graphics and stuff for the next predicting Tranquility, as well as it'll probably be this is my first time ever like hosting one of these type things, so kind of new to OBS and whatever, but I'm learning. So hopefully next week is a little bit more stable. But for the featured matches this week, we have tomorrow at 9 o'clock CET or 3 o'clock EST. Harmony EU, the Celsius 522 is taking on Hope Guardians. In NA, later that night for Harmony, Galactic Penguins versus the Fighting Potatoes at 9 EST. On Wednesday, we have Transcendence match of Guangzhou Gangsters versus the Death Cards. Definitely one to watch, despite us all saying it's going to be a sweep. 9 o'clock EST for that one as well. Thursday in Discord EU, Mythical Kitsune versus... I don't have somebody there. Um, sorry about
It's
that.
Cam.
Cam. I didn't write on the script who their opponent was. My bad on that. But that is also at 9 o'clock CET or 3 o'clock EST. And the final match is my team on Thursday, Galactic Gibbons versus the Cosmic Castaways. Definitely be there. Definitely root on the Gibbons. Uh, yeah, 9 o'clock EST for that one as well. Before we head out, Phoenix, Abraxas, you guys got any thoughts on the beginning of the season?
Um, Not really. I'm just excited to see like how all the new teams play, and I'm happy we get to play again. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
you go,
okay.
Abraxas. Sorry about that.
I was just gonna say, I guess I'm most excited to see these teams. Finally, we're gonna finish it out on Overwatch 1. So I guess I'm finally excited. There's another season of Tranquility Overwatch.
Yeah, definitely. I've missed it. I know you all have as well. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching. Thank you Phoenix and Abraxas as well for joining me here tonight. Uh, I will be back same time, same place right after the podcast next week on Monday. But for now, thank you guys all so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the featured matches.